yourself
got the, you have no Rizz, Mom. I was like, what are you talking about? I'm full of Rizz.
Tesla bumper stickers, Gen Z slang, and fake Apple logos. Another day in the tech fever dream. Pour a drink, dive into episode 27 of Helical Brew. Welcome back, Helical Brew listeners. Your host, Mike Ouren here, coming back to you for another intermission. We're getting ready for the next round of discussions with guests, but we're going to just spend a little time, do a short episode today with just the three of us. Also, Jeff has gone on to do another podcast, so it's going to be the three of us as the co-hosts, Elizabeth, Sura, and myself. I'm looking forward to seeing his first episode. He's apparently going to do a podcast about music. We've all learned along the way how to come up with a podcast and get it published on the different spots. But so he's got all that information in the bank, which is great because it was he was definitely part of that learning process to get us here today. And yeah, it's just kind of a chill week, other than the roller coaster that is known as the stock market. We're not going to talk too much about that because that you can read about pretty much on your phone, whether you want to read about it or not, because you're going to get all kinds of notifications. You pretty much have to turn your phone off not to get any notifications about that.
Don't look at your 401k.
Don't look at your 401k. Yeah, there's that's right. All the good stuff that's going on. Yeah, I think, these kinds of situations certainly highlight some of the things in the industry that we've been seeing already, but they sort of, I think, exaggerate them a bit. We've talked about before, the poor San Diego market for biotech has been taking a hit, as we've seen before. And, this kind of thing just puts the squeeze on more. I saw some stocks that are well known in this industry that really took a hit. And it's amazing the stock market. There's that book I mentioned in the previous episodes, The Wisdom of Crowds. And one of the things it talks about is virtual markets, right? So it's a market you create with fake money, but the idea of the market, who's investing in what, and it just really shows how a large group, like in this case, the whole world, investing in the stock market can make incredibly wise decisions as a group, right? The group think that you get from the stock market. It's like, when I look at it, being an insider and previously at some of these companies, it's like you see, yeah, they are highly dependent upon imported products, right? It's like, and where's their biggest market? U.S. Okay, well, there you go. You can see the stock market saying, yep, we know they import a lot of things. And here we go. You're going to end up paying a lot more for those things. It's probably going to impact sales. So in any case, how is everyone doing? Starting with you, Elizabeth.
Well, I'm doing well. Despite all the situation that is going on, we are on election as well, like here in Canada.
That's right. You're getting a new PM.
Yeah, soon, 28th, we're electing a new prime minister, which it's been a lot of, back and forth and lots of people trying to decide between the liberals and the conservatives right now because, they are tying the parties to the party in the United States. So it's been a lot of things.
It's a global phenomenon now. It's always liberal, conservative. That's it.
Yes.
So how long after election, once the election's done, will they be in office?
I'm not sure. I mean, I think it's pretty soon that they will take over the office.
Okay.
So, yeah. Because now Mark Carney, he took the position where Trudeau was before, because now he's the leader of the Liberal Party. So that's why he's there as an interim kind of.
I see. Okay. And swinging on over to the other side of the country. Well, not even the same country, but going a little bit south.
Different country.
Just a tad bit south and all the way to the other side. What's going on, sir?
Well, I'm really excited about this intermission. Always when we're deep in a series like AI that has a lot of things going on, a lot of things to ingest and digest, it's nice to have an intermission to just kind of touch base. So I'm happy about that. Other than that, I have a cold, so I sound awful. I apologize, everyone, for listening to me.
Don't hear any difference, so it's all good. It's all perceived. Yeah, it's like winter won't go away, nor will the colds, right? Sounds like there was some snow up in Toronto too, right?
Yeah, we've had a little bit of snow, and it's been terrible weather this spring for us. So part of the north of Toronto, we had a ice storm a week ago.
Amazing.
So a bunch of people were without power for several days it was bad.
Ice is the worst. It weighs down the
Yes.
power lines and all that. I found, like, here we're at a higher elevation, but in South Carolina, I found it to be more dangerous in the winters because South Carolina is one of those states. It's very hot and humid in the summertime, but you get to winter, they don't really get like any, snow precipitation, but they do get freezing rain, right? Just the way the air flows and boy, I've never slid more in a place. I mean, I could have been at 10,000 feet in Colorado and had a safer driving experience than I did in South Carolina when they get the ice rain. You just stay home. Of course, people don't know how to drive in it too. So you see school buses in a drainage ditch or something like that. But for those of you on the previous episode where we talked a little bit about scotch, the vessel in question is this one. Okay, so if you find yourself drinking scotch, do it out of one of these. This is exactly what you need. This is what it was designed for. And even if you don't drink scotch, it's pretty cool just to, as it is.
Hold it next to you so they can see
the difference,
the size differential.
And yes, it does. The vessel does get used from time to time when I decide to have a scotch, but I kept the box just because it's that cool. Yeah, it's very,
No, closer to your face.
Yes.
The way he holds it.
Yes, imagine I will be your whiskey tasting instructor. Yes. It even has its own Twitter and Facebook if you want to follow it. Yep, see? It's a little bit dated because it's still got Twitter on there. That should be X, Instagram, and Facebook if you're so
I think we're all living in denial that is X.
Yeah, right.
Now we know when you got it.
We should have known that was coming, given all the names of the kids. You're kind of like, oh, well,
right?
Here we go.
Didn't
there
the Social Security office say, like, no, you can't name your kid with characters to him? Isn't that what happened?
Yeah, we don't have that we don't do Unicode, dude. So
We don't
I would like to call my kid Alt 00651.
Alti for short.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll just rename my kid at just the symbol at
At
Hadi.
what point is a younger generation going to finally like throw their hands up at this whole at thing, right? I mean, they've already thrown their hands up on the concept of email. Why not just like the whole at? Like, why do you do that? Why do you have to have an at sign? What's the whole domain structure? It just seems a little
I got
dated,
some things to say though about this generation with the words they make up that are not even related in any way to the actual words, like this whole Rizz thing and Omega or Alpha. Like they just
Alpha and
Omega.
Omega.
What the heck are you talking about? Rizz, at least I can pull it out of charisma, but the rest of it.
I think this is all the times they're half awake and their parents were watching a movie in the same room. So, and they heard things and it just sort of settled in. And when they got older, they just regurgitated this Alpha.
I got the, you have no Rizz, Mom. I was like, what are you talking about? I'm full of Rizz.
There are some great memes where like, somebody out of the generation starts using the terminology and it's like, it sounded awkward when the actual generation used it. Now it sounds super awkward when someone tries to fake it. Who knows? I imagine it throws people off at schools too, right? They're like, what are they? Is it code? What are they talking about?
Oh yeah, the teachers and the trainers are all so annoyed. I think part of it is because they don't know what they're talking about, and then it also makes you feel like old because you're like, I don't understand these children.
And they're probably all smiling, going, "Ooh, look at the expression on their face. They feel so old right now."
Yeah. Or the new one, like, oh, you ate. Like, you did well on that jump or whatever. I'm like, okay, I can pull that out eventually, but you ate hard.
Imagine one of these folks becomes a pilot and they're having to talk to air traffic control. Come back again? What was that? We don't... Could be destination chaos. The AI has a deep track, and we've been able to go... and have some great conversations with people about that. I think I've rewatched a couple of the episodes myself, and it was very, very insightful. And looking forward to doing more of that. We've got I think a nice guest list coming up, not only in AI but also in the industry. We're going to be talking a little bit about just arriving at success within the industry that is bringing new science alive. So super excited about
and the
that.
business of science. We have a whole series around that.
That's right. That's right. The business of science and how we should have just a science-specific stock market. Launching right now on this show.
Talking about stock
markets. With residuals, please.
That's right. We will each have ticker symbols. The show will have a ticker symbol. No,
we've gone off a tangent.
Yeah. Oh, it's more than tangential. It's global. We're basically we're gonna spin out into space, and we're gonna get to Mars before Elon does.
Oh, just challenge. Bring it on, Elon.
You hear that? You hear that titanium? Mic dropping, Elon. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I passed 2 Teslas parked on the road yesterday, and I had this fear. I'm like, bro, you got to put those things in a garage. They're just back to back on the side street.
Just on the street.
For trouble.
Yeah,
I love. Is it not bad over there? Because I heard,
Well, I mean, the news blows it up, but I mean, yeah, there's full-on dealerships that have been
yeah,
wow,
torn up, and then also charging stations with the cars attached to them, getting burned up, and boy, one of those things.
I'm not in any way going to do anything, but just a layperson having those thoughts makes you understand the tension in society right now.
Yeah, and people are coming up with special bumper stickers. It's like, well, I have one, but here's a message. I'm not part of this crowd. Whatever it is. Yeah.
I think I saw a bumper sticker that said I bought it before the election or something.
It's a ridiculous activity to begin with to start damaging. Yeah, I mean, of course, it's a completely ridiculous activity to damage cars on that premise, but it's like.
That's why I drive an Audi. Audi, go ahead and feel free to sponsor us at any point in time.
But as an executive, just looking at the logic of as an executive, it's like, most companies would not put their leadership in a PR position like that. But hey, when you are the PR person, why not? Right? I guess. I
was gonna say, can anyone stop him at his company now? Can you imagine?
No, pretty much. Zuckerberg could do the same thing at Facebook. I mean, there's nothing to stop Zuckerberg from just going completely sideways, but Zuckerberg's smart, and he knows when to say when. Each to their own. But I mean, in terms of as an executive who's and has that much power to his organization, I'd say he's keeping the right track. I mean, Elon, you might want to go check over with Mark. He's doing it the right way.
Oh my God, let's not get powerful people together in a room that do stupid shit. Let's keep them away from each other.
I think those guys would be putting 2 poles of a magnet together. They would just,
You think so?
I don't think they would. No, I don't.
I feel like Zuckerberg could show him ways to generate ad revenue through fake.
No, I'll tell you why. It's because as far as X is concerned, that is the anti-Facebook. So they're not. It's like antimatter business wise.
Anti-Facebook. Yeah.
See, that is what is fascinating about a company like Facebook is the fact that they actually launched an entire VR platform, which is, or, I mean, that's not trivial. It seems to be the one that most people talk about, at least that I hear about, price point, what, $500, $500? It's not too bad.
I think it was just annoying for a time because you couldn't log in unless you had a Facebook account, but I logged in using my email.
Okay. Well, that's their hook, right? I mean, get Google,
but,
they were the masters of that.
PlayStation not letting you log in unless you participated in their social media account. Who does that on a gaming console?
I wouldn't be shocked if it happened one day. I mean, I really wouldn't.
I'm already annoyed that I have to have a PlayStation account to log into the PlayStation Premiere features, the Sony store or whatever.
Well, do you remember the time? So, sorry, Elizabeth, we're going on a gaming tangent.
I know, I'm sorry.
We are, but actually, you can appreciate this because I know. Well, there's a Nintendo Switch in your household, if I remember right.
Yes, there is.
Yeah. So, and they're all, I think Nintendo at one time was a free account. Right now, you have to pay to use Nintendo Online. The
online stuff they always get you.
The online stuff, yeah. And Xbox has always been paid, but Sony was free for the longest time.
Yeah, for the longest time.
And I have to say, the service at Sony was terrible because it was free. That was a great example of that was the best, whatever, $25, $30 I spent not a month. That's like at the time it was for the whole year, because all of a sudden, oh, it's reliable. I don't get kicked out of games anymore.
Yeah.
And it actually works.
The worst is when you're playing a game and someone like goes into your world, and then like if anything happens at that point, your character's toast, you know?
Did you ever see the South Park about World of Warcraft?
Yes, where they like got so fat eating Cheetos and drinking Mountain Dew or something.
I'm stacking Thunder Armor, Mom.
So sometimes I have like stuff on when I'm playing games, and I think that episode I was watching while I was playing on the PlayStation, and I was like, I'm not gonna be them. I'm gonna get off now.
Yeah. What was the last video game you played, Elizabeth?
I don't play video
Don't
games.
play, not at all? Zero?
We gotta. You're going to Vancouver, right? You gotta get her to play some video games.
Switch or something? Yeah, it's portable.
I watched.
Not even
Actually, no, there was I can't remember the game. It's about racing, and
Mario
Marek, no. There is a different one that Marek got it, and he was asking me to play. I mean, I think I played a couple of times, and I crashed so many times that I said, okay, forget it, I'm gone. Thank goodness I don't drive the way I was driving in the game.
You should have her play like Dark Souls.
I haven't even played that game, but it's
scary.
average.
Why would you want me to play?
Because it's so beautifully rendered.
There is a new, so the new Formula One game is coming out next month.
Well, yeah, you'd like that.
Yeah,
it's all about Lewis Hamilton, the whole freaking thing.
Okay, then I will play that.
I mean, it's got every driver in it, but it's kind of cool because it seems like sometimes the broadcasts are all about Max Verstappen, and maybe the McLaren guys get a little bit, but it's always Max. And so they're like, no, like because he's the best, the most winningest driver in the currently driving. I think that's why he gets all the attention, and he's with Ferrari too. So games like it when Ferrari has a driver. They did the same thing back in the day with Schumacher. Mm-hmm. So I noticed it's like, oh, all of a sudden he's over at Ferrari, and now he's got a full-on video game. Interesting. Okay.
Elizabeth is definitely not into it. It's like video games, you guys. You do.
Well, I mean, I'm going. This is extreme. If she's not into an F1 game or doesn't get into an F1 game,
I think
not getting into anything.
But yeah, video games.
Yeah, we'll give it a try. I'm still waiting for the Mac to get some more traffic on doing gaming, because as you've seen, sir, the Mac Mini is so powerful, even on graphics. Like they can do whatever they want, but they've got to get somebody big to come over and do a game on that platform. And I think there's so many licenses with Windows, licensing agreements, that they're kind of avoiding it. But I think one of these days it's going to happen. Some big ass game's going to come out on Mac.
Don't you feel like a Sony Apple collab would be awesome?
If Jobs was alive, that probably would have happened already, because he loved Sony.
Yeah,
he was always until the guy came up on the stage. He invited the president of Sony on stage, and he says, "Oh yeah, the iPod Nano is a little bit bulky." And the look on Steve's face you could probably make a painting on par with the Mona Lisa with that look that was on his face right then. And from that point on, Sony, or anyone else for that matter, well, no, they invited other game companies, but Sony was never invited on the stage again.
I mean, it's
a little bit bulky.
It's hard to invite people you can't predict. You know what I mean? Like, invite who you want, but you gotta be able to predict, what they're gonna say.
Yeah, and I used to watch every keynote like that too, so you could kind of see where it would go, because he was just so good at it. It was fun to watch those. And then Tim took over, and it's like, we're okay. So I think some of the other folks were entertaining, and now they pre-produce the whole thing. Like, it's not done live anymore, Not doing it live, not like a webinar, not like we're going to be doing shortly, right, Elizabeth? Mm-hmm. A webinar at some point. And also, we got some ELRIG activity coming up, both ends of Canada.
Yes.
What's going on in Montreal, and when is it happening?
That's on the 24th of April. So we're going to have a social sponsored by Yokogawa. And it's actually very exciting because we are having our main event this year in Vancouver. and that's in June 3rd. So we are going to be holding socials as well to create some engagement with the rest of the community across Canada, because we have groups in Montreal, Toronto as well, that they are also asking for more engagement. And because it's so spread out through the country, so it's challenging to keep everybody in one event. So we have to host these small events, and we're expecting like a good turnaround for the Montreal one as well.
Cool. Montreal is always a good one.
I'm going to make that excuse to go there. It's busy.
Yeah.
Couple
Are
of
you going to come
days.
to Vancouver too?
Yes, I will be in Vancouver as well. So
Oh, you're going to go from one end to the other.
well, it's in different dates, but I'm definitely going to be in Vancouver. So, and Vancouver is also hosting a social. I think it's going to be in May, just before the main event in June. So I don't have a date yet, but they are organizing that already.
And I'm guessing we'll end up doing the webinars somewhere, I think after ELRIG in Vancouver. Before.
Well, there's some special product releases that will happen in June. So I think probably it will be a good idea to have something before, just so we can get engagement and interest from people that are going to the event to see the products.
All right.
What are you guys going
then,
to do a webinar on?
packaged automation, ready to go out of the box. Hotel, gripper, software. Yeah. So we'll be talking about, optimized solutions for going back to the benchtop, right? Doing what all kicked a lot of this stuff off. It's an area that's got a lot of potential. So, I also wanted to mention on the 19th of June, there's going to be the Reno SLAS meetup. That's sponsored by Hamilton, and that's going to be right here in Reno at the National Auto Museum. It's going to be Reno Regional Meetup SLAS, June 19th. So,
That's exciting.
Yeah. And I don't know what's going on in the other chapters, frankly. Well, actually, that's not true. I did see an event for Midwest coming up, and I believe also New York has something coming up.
New York has I think it's in May as well.
Yeah, okay.
And
They seem very active. That's great,
Yes.
the New York chapter. Yeah.
They're having a lot of engagement. A lot of vendors are actually going there as well. So it will be a nice event.
And San Diego just had theirs.
Yeah, ELRIG is kind of preparing a lot of things as a global effort now. As I was actually in a meeting with them just before this podcast. So it's interesting to see all the plans that are being put together to kind of join efforts with the chapters as well as remain independent, but at the same time having an entity that can help us kind of guide what the efforts of each chapter is going to be.
Yeah, it is an interesting makeup in terms of how it's structured, right? It was sort of a group of independent chapters that are all part of, almost like in a way, it's kind of like the Rotary International, the Rotary Club. It's, the Rotaries, you can find them all over the world. You can go to Toronto, there's a Rotary of Toronto, there's a Rotary of San Diego. I mean, it's funny, like my dad used to be in Rotary, and it's a brand that's kind of lost its, they really have to work hard to try to recruit younger people, because that goes way back, way back, the Rotary volunteering. But, ELRIG is, I think all organizations run that risk, right? You got to keep it, have new people coming in and getting involved. And we're seeing that with some of the chapters.
And that's something that we need to highlight. This is a volunteering group. So it's very important to get more engagement from other and also new members, because I know a lot of chapters have had the same board for a long time, many years. Now it's time to get engagement from new members and also new ideas, fresh mindsets and new technologies that are coming into the industry that they can also be part of these groups. Now they're realizing that this has to be more like an entity, not just a person that represents the overall.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If it becomes a person, it has a limited, the fuse is lit, right? It's only going to last so long.
Yeah.
It needs to be bigger than the people involved at the end of the day.
Yes. But that has allowed us to unite the chapters as well, kind of unify the vision, the mission of the ELRIG. So I'm excited about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy to be part of it. Actually, volunteering, it takes a lot of time of your days, but it's actually very rewarding.
Yeah, I couldn't resist looking at the current Rotary website. It's like 1.2 million people. Wow. That's amazing. Yeah, globally, it's a lot of
Yeah, I
But yeah,
remember Ecuador.
yeah, rotary. Oh yeah, absolutely. And my dad used to volunteer that. I've got these great Reno Air Races hats, security hats, because that's what my dad used to do the Rotary Club would do all the security at the Reno Air Races, and so they would just volunteer for events like that. A lot of retired people, but younger folks as well, scholarships and things like that. And that's what I find the most inspiring about organizations like ELRIG is there's opportunity there for chapters to do more than just like events, right, and community outreach and things like that. So yeah, lots more to come, I think, from ELRIG, and looking forward to that. So side note, what kind of headphones do you like? What's your like day-to-day listening headphones for both of you? I'm curious. Like
Beats.
what kind of headphones?
Yeah,
Beats?
I have Beats too.
Have you ever heard of like lossless audio? So there's this whole like thing about like audio where you can do the normal playback of an MP3 or a file that's on your phone is going to be compressed. So a song takes up maybe 10, 15 megabytes. But like a lossless version of it where there's no like compression could be 100 megabytes, right? So 10 songs is already a gigabyte. Anyway, storage is cheap these days, as we know, right? Well, unless it's on an iPhone. I've never seen a product go up in cost so much. Same processor, same everything else, double the memory, double the price. That kind of logic, right? Which coming up soon, right, Sura?
Yeah, I was just thinking because I pay for Google since we do a lot of sharing.
Yeah, what is that? I forget. It's like $10 a month, $5 a month, or something like that. It's not.
It's like $2.99 for a terabyte or something. It's not that expensive.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then I pay so much more for Apple because I don't want to have to deal with worrying about anything. Just put it all in the cloud. Remember the days when it first came out when you had to like download everything onto a hard drive, and then that way you can like put more stuff on your phone. I haven't pulled out my external hard drive in like years and years and years because now it's all in the cloud, and it makes me feel
all
sad
in my
because now
drawer.
I want to take the stuff from the hard drive and put it back on my phone so it can be in the cloud. Like all my daughter's like newborn pictures are in the hard drive. I'd much rather have them scrollable.
Well, you're going to want to get those backed up anyway, because I mean, you don't want to do the one copy thing either.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, they're on, and that's the problem, right? Because you have to make sure your hard drive is backed up on another hard drive in case something happens to that external hard drive.
Yeah.
But in the cloud, like that's Apple's problem. My problem is just getting it paid for.
Yeah, and Apple tends to bundle things in like the $30 a month kind of package, not the $2.99. And yeah, it's funny.
The memory, and then they bundle music,
Apple
and
TV
Family
Plus.
One, and Apple. It's like $25.99, and every time it charges my credit card, I'm just like, "What is this?" And then I remember, like, I can't get rid of it.
Apple News. Yeah, it is quite an elaborate list of services, and I would say it's worth it if you're an Apple TV Plus, watcher, you like it. If you're not into that, boy, it's not a great deal, I'd have to say. I mean, they were smart about bundling that in there, and also coming up with hooky shows. Slow Horses is Apple TV Plus.
The best show I've ever seen, and like critically acclaimed, C with Jason Momoa.
Okay.
Oh my God. It's about like in a post-apocalyptic world where nobody can see, and those that can see get like persecuted. It is wild. I highly recommend it.
Huh. Okay. All right. Is it just the Jason Momoa part, or is it?
No. I mean, that pulled me in, but the show kept me going.
Line, sinker. Yeah.
That other one too about the galaxy, I forget which one, where it's like the emperors are clones, like, and they have it's like 3, an old one, like a middle-aged one, and a young child, and you go through with this imperial rule through these 3 clones. It's pretty interesting. I forget what it's called.
I gotta go outside of the shows I've been watching on Apple just to enjoy more, because they are getting some real rock stars. They got Joe Rogan, or Seth Rogen. Sorry, not Joe Rogan. Seth Rogen.
Yeah, isn't that new show that he's in?
That one looks.
Where they
funny.
had a party, they crashed Charlize Theron's party or something.
Exactly. That's good. They're getting like just huge talent. Totally. Yeah, I got to do more of that. I just pulled up the app right now. I'm looking at this. I'm like, oh wow, look at all these shows with A-listers left and right. You know, when you're worth like $3 trillion, it's like these are the TV shows you can produce. Like they're worth more than all of Hollywood, basically, pretty much. And then, so yeah, they can produce good shows.
I just love that they're attracting like talent that people want like it's becoming something celebrities want to participate in an Apple show.
Totally. It's sort of like the more professional, bigger version of what happened with Robot Chicken, right? People like wanted to be on the show. Like they're like, that sounds a lot like Mark Hamill's Joker. Well, that is Mark Hamill doing the Joker on Robot Chicken. They just drop into the studio. Seth guides them onto what they're gonna do, and they go record it. I'm like, wait a minute, that sounds like Morgan Freeman. That is Morgan.
That is Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. You can get people to do just fun stuff like that for the heck of it, and people don't even realize it until they're watching the credits. They're like, oh, wait, they were actually in the studio. Yeah, I like the Apple bundle. I use the storage, and I need that just native iCloud little icon in the corner to do what I need it to do. And you've always been PC, right, Elizabeth? You're using Office 365 with OneDrive. I have to say, 365 OneDrive has gotten a lot better in recent years. Yeah. I use that too for work. And
I mean, we use it for work, but I am always there.
Yeah, you got the one platform. Do you find any issues because you're on PC for the computer and phone is an Apple product, or is that kind of
gone
away?
I cannot connect these two things together. So my iPhone is separate. Yeah, that's the only downside of it. But yeah, the whole team uses. Actually, I have people in my team that are using the Mac, and they have the virtual.
Oh, and yeah, I do that too. So I at my company, I'm doing most everything on a Mac or an iPad or something like that. But I mean, there are certain apps within the organization, as with almost any organization, that are only going to run on the PC. But fortunately, most of the apps I use are all cloud apps, so that's fine. And as long as the web browser doesn't like reject, I can't show you this website, this won't work or whatever, because the website, sometimes they're using some old Java. I've seen that, but I think we've pretty much gotten rid of all that. All the legacy Java that still says Sun Microsystems. That's when you know software's old. If you see the term Sun Microsystems, that is ancient. That's long gone. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Cloud storage, all that stuff. Like, storage is cheap now, except if it's an iPhone, right? And, you could, I think, Sura, for $2.99 a month, we could have pretty much Google 1 terabyte for all of our lifetimes and still not pay off what it costs to get an iPhone with 1 terabyte, or even half of it. It's that. That's just what it is.
But it's like commodity, right? I think they have
cloud
to
storage is a commodity.
Yeah, and I think it's a way to get people to stop using it, because the cheaper you make it, the more accessible it becomes, the more you have to support it. And it's definitely, I still know people who are offloading their stuff off their iPhone because they don't want to pay for the Apple cloud storage.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, but
no way I'd do that. No way. Yeah, I'm not going to sync my whole, I don't want to sync like everything, like the music library and whatnot and photos, but I still want to have the capacity to maybe queue up some movies for a whole trip, and those are 20 gigabytes a piece now. So like 5 movies, you're already at 100 gigabytes. I mean, you eat up the storage quick.
Especially if everything is Apple, right? Between the Mac Mini, the iPad Pro, my phone, my daughter's phone, her Mac, like her iPad, you run out of storage pretty quick.
You feel like you can't escape it because you can't escape it. There is no way. Like, if you want to use Dropbox, I used Dropbox for years on the Mac. Did you ever use Dropbox? Yeah. Elizabeth, did you try Dropbox? Yeah. I used it for years.
Dropbox, Google, and Apple. I was like, this is ridiculous. I need to pay for one thing.
And it made it so painful. I'm like, where did I put that?
Yeah. But the nice thing about Apple now is it just runs through files. So the Files app, you just search, and if you've got everything connected, it searches everywhere. Like, this document's in iCloud. So you don't feel like that hunting happening.
I got you. Yeah. That's nice. They've made plugins for the other. I use it for OneDrive too. Yeah. Well, what Apple recently did is it's the first set of headphones where you can do low latency spatial audio in uncompressed. So this means you don't even plug a 3.5 millimeter jack. There is no analog. It's USB-C out of your computer or your phone into your headphones. It's basically putting the uncompressed track. They just launched a firmware on their big AirPod Max. And I tried it out at the Apple store. It is incredible. In some songs, like the fidelity difference, you can hear it. I mean, you have to an A/B, like put it down, put your regular headphones on, Bluetooth, and put these on. And it's like, that's pretty cool.
You like that redundant action, Mike? Put it on, put it off, put it on.
Exactly.
Scotch, put it down. Drink
yeah, because you need to be let down so you can be impressed again, right? Let down, press, let down, impressed. And
got 3 shorts out of that
one. That's the way headphones, right? A/B. Okay, good headphones, bad headphones, good, bad, good, bad. Oh, great. Leave the good ones on. Throw the bad ones back. Awesome.
Throw it away.
Pick it back up.
That model for tasting scotch can be applied to any product testing you're doing of any kind. Doesn't matter.
Sponsored by Mike Ouren.
Don't look back. Move on. Remember the best. Forget the worst. Move on. Be happy. Everyone in the store will look at you. You don't care because life is good.
So funny. But you know what's nice about all of this cloud stuff is it limits, like, you give from one pocketbook but you take back in another, in a way, right?
How do you get it back?
I got to use the deal that Costco had on the Mac Mini, even though it wasn't all the RAM that would have been supporting all of these things, because I have the cloud, right? So I didn't worry about it because I was like, oh, well, I have stuff in the cloud. How much do I really need on the Mac, you know?
True. Yeah, they priced that thing perfectly.
I was in Costco sending him screenshots. What do you think of this?
You got to get a mini, Elizabeth. It's just awesome. It's like genius in your hand.
Or on your desktop.
Or on your desktop.
That thing.
Runs cool. Yeah. Well, I mean, the memory question was, and the answer to the question is always, well, do you have cloud storage?
Yeah. Well, they also had external, like an SD you can plug in, right? You said.
Yeah, you can plug in external storage, but
I haven't had to because I have the cloud.
They figured out a way that it can anticipate what files you want downloaded and which ones you don't, pretty much.
That reminds me of Nick Edwards when he was saying, remember we asked why potato AI? And he said, because Apple was taken.
Apple was taken, right? That was funny.
That was funny.
He was, yeah, that was, yep, couldn't take that one. Don't want to deal with those lawyers. I can understand why.
But, you know, what's funny is I watched Disney. Well, when my daughter was younger, she watched Disney. And they have Apple computers. It's obviously an Apple computer, but they can't do that because then they have to pay residuals or whatever, or, you know. So instead, they had like the Pear. So the Apple symbol turned into a pear. So instead of an Apple phone, it was like a Pear phone. It was really funny because for the longest time, we were like, everything is pears. It's obviously an Apple.
Can you just see the conversation happening between somebody in like the production legal team talking to somebody in the props department? We need you to make this like look convincing, but not show this. It's got to be something else.
But it's perfect because the Pear has that round bottom, so all they had to do was the top part.
Make a little. Oh man, yeah. I've noticed that they do that with cars too. It's like something wrong with that grill. I know that's a Ford, but the oval's messed up. It's not an oval.
Or the Escalade, you're like, I know that grill, but it's that grill. I can't show it.
But there's no caddy. Where's the caddy? Yeah. Well,
my family, Miguel, my brother and my dad, they've been Apple guys forever. Like they used. They have all the Mac and everything. Like I don't know why, but I guess because Paul always used the PC, and I kind of went towards that.
He's developing PC software too. I mean,
it was not in our house around, and in a way, like I understand why he was using it for development was a better tool for him. So
yeah, it's more practical. I mean, changing like now you can actually emulate or put like I can right now click on this one icon.
I was gonna say
a PC will show up on my second screen.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I do it. And yeah.
Because a lot of the engineering programs just work better on a PC, but I refuse to get a PC.
Yeah.
And
I had to use my company's laptop, and I was just like, how to use this thing? Because it's been like decades since I've used one.
yeah, I gotta say, it's one of those things where I'm like, all
Yeah.
right, we gotta bring this battery out of deep.
But instantly, as soon as it wakes up, you realize why you like Apple so much, because it's so it's counterintuitive, whereas Apple just works with your logic.
It depends. If
Screens.
you have always been using PC, I guess for me, it's like I know.
And they have gotten better. I have to say, like ever since Microsoft did a build on ARM processors, so essentially the core that a Mac uses, or phones, like even Windows phones when they existed used ARM processors, and that led them to be able to have to do a build that worked on ARM processors natively. Ever since they did that, the way it runs is just better in general. Like whether it's Intel or ARM, I just find that they boot up much smoother, and they're not like reading through like 10 gigabytes of information and only pulling out the 500 megabytes that it needs to boot, but it seems like it had to go through the whole process. So it's gotten better in general.
Well, for some time I had an Android phone, and it was interesting that Isabella, my daughter, could unlock her with her face, because
That is
very much
amazing, because facial recognition is very hard to beat.
Yes, but
Wow.
that showed me, because as soon as I switched to Apple, she couldn't do the same.
Yeah.
And
Interesting.
that's a very good comparison of how, it was like at the same time frame that she could really easily unlock my phone with her face.
What was that phone using? That must have been some.
That's the thing, is like these companies have patents on the things that they work so hard for, right? That makes their product special. So that
Good
there's going to
point.
be differences already. I tried to give my cousin's daughter, because I got a free Android iPad through something I won. So I tried to give her that, but she'd been playing with my iPad and she just could not figure it out. I even changed it so it looked like an iPad, like the interface, just to make her feel comfortable. But she would push the button and then she would have to wait. It wasn't this instant response. And she just basically looked at me, took it, and threw it in the trash and walked away. It's like, you're spicy for a 5-year-old.
You get that on tape and you show it to these companies. It's like, look, if your stuff works like this.
Even a 5-year-old can use it and get frustrated when it doesn't work.
Bye. Yeah, that's it. I mean, they recognize that. Even the early, I still have it. I can power it up. It's ridiculously slow, but at least Jobs got it right with the inertial scrolling. You felt like your mind was still being entertained, even though the content was taking forever to load on a web page. It's that inertial scrolling changed everything. Didn't want to throw it in the trash afterwards. Did anyone here use a Blackberry?
Yes.
No Blackberry. Yeah. That was Canadian, Elizabeth. That's as Canadian as it gets.
I wasn't in Canada at that time.
I guess that's
truck down.
That's true.
See ya. It still exists. It existed. 2000. It existed in 2007 with the first iPhone. So up to, I guess they kind of fell apart in 2012, 13, something like that. But yeah, the Blackberry. I had the one with the little scroller ball.
Yeah, the little scroller ball. I remember that. And then that iPhone came, and I was like, teeny tiny thing.
Yeah.
The company was out of Waterloo, right?
It was.
In Canada.
I think it was some university folks that.
Yeah, the University of Waterloo worked a lot over there. I think I worked with some students that were also working with them.
Oh, I'm sure it was a huge hiring, beacon for University of Waterloo students for sure.
Yeah.
That was, it was a strange company in that it had two CEOs. It made for a strange dynamic, because they could gridlock each other, But that was remember Obama, when Obama became president? The only device that they could certify it was secure enough for him to use was his Blackberry. They had to do a special thing, but I mean, that's how secure the Blackberry platform was at that time. It was the most secure platform globally. In fact, the Indian government, like any state government that wanted to be able to see stuff, they had to work out special deals, and they ended up having, BlackBerry ultimately had to fold their cards, right, and let them do it. But because otherwise they couldn't sell the phone at all in the country. Like India had a policy like, yeah, but it was like so secure that even a state-run spy agency couldn't crack it. Like, all right, that's pretty good.
So I want to get a new iPhone, but with the current political climate, I'm worried that it's going to cost like $3,000.
Well, if this keeps up, they may not come out with it, actually.
I
The new one
noticed
may not.
on YouTube someone giving a speech about how all the plants are coming into the United States so they can provide products that don't have to deal with the tariffs.
That would take years.
I don't feel like that's going to solve my problem, right?
No, that will not solve your problem. In fact, they may. If
it's true at all.
If this is as bad as it seems like it might, could be, in terms of the tariffs for devices like that, they may actually not come out with a phone this year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I'll be so behind.
So
one of the conversations we had in my CEO group are two sides of the story. Like a lot of companies are going to take this as an opportunity to increase pricing, and the pricing might never go down. There are other companies on the other side that are building strategies that are actually thinking about how they are going to manage the tariffs and the extra costs. So there's a lot of conversation around businesses now. How are they going to manage these additional costs to the product? And obviously, like with COVID, that was something that happened. We had like long lead times for certain products. It was a very difficult time. But some of those products, if you look at it, they never went down in pricing. Everything stayed more expensive. So that's why
nothing ever goes down.
Yeah, so the recession that is what we're going through now, it's going to be like this scenario that we're going to see for the next 4 or more years.
Yeah, I mean, I do see one key difference, though, between the COVID situation and today's, and that the COVID situation happened relatively slowly over time, and it was sort of demand-based inflation. So the demand fell, or the demand grew above supply, and it inflated through that.
And it was
relatively steadily. It wasn't. Yeah, it was somewhat predictive. Here, you're talking about numbers where this is my opinion, but in some of these product areas, you just lose customers. So, like, if you all of a sudden say, no, the model of phone you had last time cost you $1,500. This model will cost you $2,250. Okay, there's a whole chunk of that market that just walks away. They're not going to say, I'll make up for it. Nope. I'm just going to walk away. And the thing is, for the investors, right, that want to see a return, that doesn't help that cause, right, if they just go away. So charging more is, at this degree, like if you're adding 100% more cost or even 50% more cost to the customer, to the consumer, I think your market share just goes down. Everybody's does.
Yeah.
So your company's worth less.
Yeah, there are products that are kind of like a necessity, and then others that are just, an iPhone. I can live with my old one.
I could replace batteries on phones for 5 years.
Mine, because I usually wait forever, so mine's like way old now. I don't think I can wait.
Well, yes, in that case, but it's kind of depending on the product too. But you have a good point, Mike, that if they want to drive customers away, there's your price.
At some point, you just don't participate. You need to focus on stuff that matters, like groceries, kids in school, or whatever, house. Yeah. So, well, we are now. Goodness, it's like over an hour. We're over.
We can talk away the day.
We can talk away the day. More episodes of Helical Brew can be found at Helical Brew on YouTube.com. If you want to keep up with us and subscribe, like, smash. Did I get that right? No, I never do. And we will be back with more guests coming up in future episodes. See you next time. And with that, the Helical Brew crew is out. Remember. Thank you for joining us on the Helical Brew. We're glad to have you with us. For more episodes, please visit our website at helicalbrew.com. That's helicalbrew.com.